Hello and welcome. Tonight, President Bola Tinubu assures leaders of Ogoni land that his administration will prioritize peace and development in the area as he meets with Governor Siminalayi Fubara, FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, and other Ogoni leaders at the presidential villa. Senators plan to meet the President Bola Tinubu to push for the conduct of the country's census in 2025. Vice President Kashim Shettima says investors can take unfettered advantage of Nigeria's growing investment climate to tap from the opportunities in the country and on the African continent. And President Donald Trump has started the process of withdrawing the United States from the World Health Organization, and the Paris Climate Deal has also declared a national emergency at the southern border.
On business news tonight, President Tinubu approves the establishment of inland dry ports for Ogun and Oyo states as part of efforts to enhance Nigeria's maritime infrastructure.
On sports, a vintage Novak Djokovic tames Carlos Alcaraz in a late-night blockbuster to set up an Australian Open semi-final with Alexander Zverev.
And from the nation's capital, federal government secures conviction for over 100 terrorist financiers in the last 2 years.
We begin tonight with an assurance coming from President Bola Tinubu to Ogoni leaders that his administration will prioritize peace, justice, and sustainable development in Ogoni land. While speaking during the meeting with a delegation of over 50 Ogoni leaders, including Governor Siminalayi Fubara of Rivers State and the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, President Tinubu called for unity and reconciliation, asking the Ogoni people to set aside historical grievances and work together to achieve peace, development, and a clean environment. President Tinubu directed the National Security Advisor, Mr. Nuhu Ribadu, to coordinate the negotiations as he called for inclusive consultation and mutual understanding. Our State House correspondent Larry Lasisi reports.
The delegation of Ogoni leaders arrived in the State House for their meeting with President Bola Tinubu. They led to the council chamber, venue of the meeting. Also present at the event is the Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, ministers and aides. Once the President arrives, the national anthem is taken and the meeting commences. The Governor of Rivers State thanked the President for his support for the Ogoni people and for receiving the delegation.
The love we have for you, the respect we have for you, is just for you to say, you're behind that meeting, we should go back and continue the consultation with a timeline so that this issue of oil, resumption of oil operation in Ogoni land will commence. I can assure you that we'll give you all the necessary support to make you succeed in this assignment that other government has failed to achieve.
The National Security Advisor, who also spoke, commended the Ogoni people for their trust in President Tinubu for embracing dialogue as a path to meaningful progress and enduring solutions.
Your Excellency, the presence of this delegation is a testament to the Ogoni people's readiness to engage constructively in the pursuit of peace, justice, and sustainable development. Their willingness to participate in this dialogue reflects a shared hope for meaningful progress and enduring solutions.
The President emphasizes the need for unity and reconciliation.
We cannot in any way rewrite the history, but we can correct some anomalies going forward. Let us put the grievances of the past aside. It cannot heal the wounds, but I know what to do in the memory of our beloved ones, so that their sacrifices will not be in vain.
After the meeting, the Minister of Environment outlined some of the federal government's efforts to address the extensive oil pollution in Ogoni land.
In the area of remediation, which is the most important area we are trying to address, we have done about 36 sites. They have been completed and they have been certified as environmentally conducive for people to continue doing that. In the area of mangrove, so far we have planted more than 2 million seedlings of mangrove during the last 6 months, and we're still on that.
This meeting appears to set the stage for more consultations that will bring peace, development, and a clean environment back to Ogoni land. From the presidential villa, Lanre Lasese, Channels Television News.
The Senate is pushing for the conduct of the national population census before the end of the current administration, and this commitment was reiterated during the budget defense session with the chairman of the National Population Commission in Abuja today. The chairman of the Committee on National Identity Management and Population, Senator Abdul Ningi, says the Senate is preparing to meet with the President to emphasize the urgency of conducting the census in 2025. Our National Assembly correspondent Gloria Umezuke reports.
The appearance of the chairman and officials of the National Population Commission is in continuation of the 2025 budget defense sessions in the National Assembly.
2025 budget.
As the chairman of the commission reels out an increased budgetary proposal of 18.27 billion naira for 2025, an air of discontent settled in the room as the protracted challenge of the national census is rekindled.
I feel bad that up to date we're still postulating or using estimate at a very modern world where we would want to bring a modern Nigeria. Because there's no way you can plan when you don't know the people you are planning for. We need to say yes, performance of 90-something%, but that's not the expected performance that Nigerians are expecting from the Nigerian Population Commission. We want to know our population.
We need to find a way of talking to the leadership of the nation. How can we just in this year be referring to foreign data? You're referring to UNICEF, who will come to your office for what they are doing. Use the National Assembly leadership, this chairman's leadership, and us to get to Mr. President. If there's election now, they will not postpone election because of money. There are other critical assignments that government think they are very necessary and they will not postpone. They postpone other things for what is considered very important. We have to let the government know that this is equally very, very important.
Lawmakers took turns to lambaste the procrastination that has accompanied the nation's population census in the last 19 years.
We are not going to rest on our hours until this census takes place within the jurisdiction of this government by Allah's grace. I have written to see Mr. President so that I can brief him. He wants the census to be conducted with biometrics, and we don't want to also be accusing the riverine people of counting fishes in the north of counting cows. So if we do census with biometrics, you can be definitely sure that people were actually enumerated. What you want.
Elsewhere, the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy appears before a joint committee addressing various queries while advocating for increased funding.
Dredging of the River Niger, what are the plans there?
Yes, the issue of dredging is very important to ensure that our waterways are navigable at all times. Again, there's need to make adequate funding available. My appeal is to the committee to please ensure that we want us to be able to unlock the potentials in the economy. There's a need for proper funding.
Meanwhile, against the backdrop of the recent telecoms hike, the ministry tenders more explanations.
The hike is also based on inflation globally. This is a sector that has not increased price for a long time. But also, how do we support them to ensure that these companies continue to stay sustainable? This is a sector that employs about 15,000 people directly, but also the price hike is not significant to the point where it becomes painful for our people.
As the budget's defense deadline narrows, more officials are expected into the National Assembly this week to defend their proposed budgets. From the National Assembly, Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
The federal government has approved the National Open University as the host of the UNESCO Media and Information Literacy Institute. The institute aims to address global challenges like misinformation, disinformation, and hate speech. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mr. Mohammed Idris, made this revelation when the UNESCO feasibility team paid him a courtesy visit in Abuja, aimed at assessing the readiness of the university to host the institute.
Every country that is desirous of having a collaboration on the global stage must ensure that it plays a key role in combating this very deadly menace. And particularly this administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu takes the issue of press freedom and freedom of expression very seriously. The President, being himself a beneficiary of press freedom, will not in any way, form or shape attempt to stifle that. As it is today, we have the right funding for the takeoff of the International Media and Information Literacy Category 2 Institute in Nigeria. We also have the right resources with our collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Education, the National Open University, and all the other stakeholders to ensure that this happens. So I'm glad that the head of the delegation, who is visiting Nigeria for the first time, will come again for other Category 2 institutes here. Nigeria is ever ready to join the global community. We're ever ready to advance the frontiers of democracy through these collaborations and engagements. And we are also ever ready to play by the rules on the international scene to ensure that Nigeria takes its rightful place and also contributes to global progress and development.
The Vice President, Kashim Shettima, says that serious investors can take advantage of Nigeria's growing investment climate to tap from the limitless opportunities in the country and on the African continent. The Vice President stated this during the forum titled Roadmap to Co-Create Investment Opportunities for Africa's Frontier Markets at the ongoing meeting of the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Minister of Health and Social Welfare is also attending the meeting today. It was attended by a high-level panel with international organizations where he emphasized the need to invest in women's health.
For us in Nigeria, we had an ambitious agenda in terms of our health sector renewal investment initiative to start aligning and focusing our efforts towards improving population health outcomes. You can't get through that without looking at reproductive, maternal, newborn, and child health. So focusing on that, expanding our primary healthcare system, training our frontline health workers, more than 53,000 of them, thousands of primary healthcare centers revitalized, but also dealing with financial protection, because many women don't access services because they cannot afford them. Taking that barrier out, whether it's for reproductive health services, antenatal care when they come to deliver, or emergency obstetric services, we're on a path to make that free so that women who are eligible can have those services. The difference between life and death for some women is affordability of things like cesarean section, mobilizing resources to be able to do that. The innovations that have been developed, whether it's postpartum hemorrhage therapeutics, the drapes that have been developed, hematinics, multiple to ensure that women get them through the retail outlets. In addition to that, ensuring the governance of the sector, the performance accountability, and the data systems are able to track that women are being served.
In part two, after the break, People's Democratic Party, the PDP, begins presentation of its witness at the Edo Governorship Election Petition Tribunal in Benin City, the state capital. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. President Bola Tinubu assures leaders of Ogoni land that his administration will prioritize peace and development in the area as he meets with Governor Siminalayi Fubara, FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, and other Ogoni leaders at the presidential villa. The senators plan to meet President Bola Tinubu to push for the conduct of the country's census in 2025. Vice President Kashim Shettima says investors can take advantage of Nigeria's growing investment climate to tap from the opportunities in the country and on the African continent. And President Donald Trump has started the process of withdrawing the United States from the World Health Organization and the Paris Climate Deal, as he also declared a national emergency at the southern border. To politics now. The People's Democratic Party, the PDP, has commenced the presentation of its witnesses at the Edo Election Petition Tribunal sitting on the petition before the court by the PDP and its governorship candidate, Asuego Dalo, challenging the outcome of the September the 21st, 2024 governorship election. Counsel to the respondents in the matter, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, the All Progressives Congress, the APC, and the governorship candidate of the APC, Senator Monday Okpeholo, objected to the admissibility of some of the evidence tendered by the witnesses, but reserved their arguments for their final written addresses.
Witnesses commenced today. PDP, they have called their two witnesses so far. You know, there was an examination chief, cross-examination, they tendered documents. Of course, as they tendered some documents, these documents were also objected to by opposing counsels. But they could not argue the objection now, but also inform the court that at the end, when they are writing their written addresses, they will now give their reasons for objection.
We head over to Abuja studios now for more on the news at 10, where Terry Kume is standing by. Hello, Terry.
Well, hi, Anne. Welcome to the nation's capital. The federal government says it has prosecuted and convicted over 100 terrorist financiers in the last 2 years. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. George Akume, made the disclosure during the 2025 National Compliance Summit on Anti-Money Laundering, organized by the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit in Abuja. According to Mr. Akume, who represented President Bola Tinubu at the event, the effort was made possible through the efforts of the Office of the National Security Advisor and the Attorney General of the Federation. Our correspondent Benny Ark reports.
The Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, NFIU, is hosting the first National Anti-Money Laundering, Countering Terrorism Financing, and Counter-Proliferation Financing Compliance Summit in Abuja.
Against money laundering in West Africa.
The summit had in attendance a host of high-level dignitaries, including the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. George Akume, who represented President Bola Tinubu. Heads of anti-corruption agencies, international partner organizations were also in attendance. The two-day summit aims to consolidate the gains of Nigeria's national strategy in the fight against illicit financial crimes and further strengthen the financial system.
The aim is to further strengthen the Nigerian financial system, build capacities of our reporting entities, covering the formal and informal sector, and also foster partnerships necessary to effectively combat money laundering, terrorism financing, and proliferation financing.
The technical sessions discussions provided the opportunity for divergent views on ways to further improve the compliance culture in Nigeria's financial services industry. Stakeholders speak on the need to align their efforts, identify innovative solutions, and reaffirm their commitment to building a resilient and transparent financial system that meets the highest international standards.
Our commitment to this cause Yes, good to meet the international standard, but much more importantly, to also ensure that Nigeria also moves forward our domestic and internal interest.
We'll do our best to ensure that we leverage on our own mandates in fighting money laundering and other financial crimes.
We all have the obligation to work with Mr. President, who is bent on restoring our economy and restoring the image of Nigeria generally. This is the wider implication of what we are doing. And I want to give the assurance of Nigeria Customs Service that we will do our best to support NFIU as a reporting institution.
Mr. Akume highlights the federal government's efforts to combat terrorism.
We have made progress to tackle the threats of terrorism and other violent crimes through the gallant actions of our frontline troops and our security agencies. However, in line with the National Counter-Terrorist Financing Strategy, we have also enhanced our ability to identify and pursue those individuals that finance these violent acts. We are creating an environment in which our rural areas will thrive once again.
The outcome of the summit is expected to contribute significantly to Nigeria's efforts to combat financial crimes and strengthen its financial system. Benny Ark, Channels Television News.
The Chief of Civil Military Relations, Army, Major General Gold Chibisi, is asking Nigerians to continue to support the nation's armed forces in order to fully decimate insurgents in the country. Speaking in Abuja shortly after taking over as the new Chief of Civil Military Affairs, General Chibisi says the continuous support of the civil populace will further strengthen the military's quest to ensure a safe Nigeria. General Chibisi adds that he remains committed to delivering on the mandate of the Chief of Army Staff through effective and cordial civil-military relations.
The responsibilities of the department are not only important but enormous in the context of contemporary Nigeria. We have a responsibility to keep projecting this very important organization, the Nigerian Army, to the people, because the people own us. We have to reflect what the people want. And it is one that I'm coming here with the best of my zeal so that we can get the job done. With the crop of officers I have met on ground, we are going to deliver on our mandate. I solicit your support, everyone, both the officers, the soldiers, and of course our friends from the press. You have been with us, and I want to plead with you to continue being with us. I believe ultimately we will also deliver excellently.
The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Nyesom Wike, has commissioned the 11-kilometer Yangoji-Sukuku Road in Kwale Area Council of the nation's capital. The road was initially flagged off for construction in January 2024. Mr. Wike also approved the construction of a bridge that links the Kuje Area Council. Our correspondent Kumbi Aboluade has a report.
This is the second road project the Federal Capital Territory Administration is commissioning in Kwale Area Council. This Yangoji-Sukuku Road, which spans 11 kilometers, was initially flagged off for construction in January 2024.
This project stands as a significant milestone. It reflects the dedication to bridging gaps of infrastructure, ensuring that no community is left behind in the quest for progress and sustainable development.
The chairman of Kwale Area Council concurs with the views expressed and makes a request.
Oga, when you resume office, the issue of kidnapping, bandits, all these people have run away because of the access of this road. This road, it will link to Yobu and to Kuje Area Council. So what I am appealing, sir, there is just one bridge called Ebo Bridge, That if he can do it for me, I'll not even ask you for another road again, sir.
The FCT minister begins his speech by granting the request of the chairman.
Mr. Adon Chairman, because you have led your people well, because you have supported this administration, because your people are happy with you, let me tell you, that bridge will be done.
He then urged residents in the area to give full support to the administration of President Bola Tinubu as he strives to bring about positive change.
You are the first community where we are doing road and push street lights. That is to tell you that the government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu is committed for the development of our people.
The minister then proceeds to officially commission the project in the company of other invited guests. Kumbi Aboluwade, Channels Television News.
In Niger State, the National Emergency Management Agency has distributed food and non-food items, including medical supplies, to injured victims and families of those who lost their lives in Saturday's tanker fire accident in Diko. Director General of NEMA, Mrs. Zubaida Umar, who led her team to the scene of the incident, says the distribution is in line with the directives of President Bola Tinubu to provide all needed support to the victims and their families. The Director General, who commended the swift response of first responders to the incident, urges citizens to pay attention to the urgent need for disaster preparedness and to be proactive in safeguarding lives and property. Updates from the agency indicate that 98 persons lost their lives, while 69 others sustained various injuries.
Based on a first rapid assessment report carried out by officials of NEMA and SEMA and other first responders, we have come to provide immediate assistance of food and non-food items. Some of these non-food items include medicaments to affected families. Incidents like this highlight how critical it is for us all to remain vigilant about safety measures surrounding hazardous materials transportation and ensure effective emergency response programs. Let us use this as a wake-up call towards improved safety standards.
Still ahead on the news at 10, President Bola Tinubu approves establishment of inland dry ports for Ogoni and Oyo states as part of measures to enhance Nigeria's maritime infrastructure. That's on Business News. To stay with us.
Welcome back. The Registrar of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, Professor Ishak Oloyede, has appealed to the Lagos State government to provide land for the boards to build computer-based test centers. The JAMB Registrar made this request when he paid a visit to the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, at Lagos House, Alausa, Ikeja.
Our people are educated, they are enlightened. But even in the most enlightened places in the Western world, enlightenment is still necessary, despite the fact that our people are conscious. Sensitization program, priming our students for examination is necessary, and this cannot be done if your zonal office, we have Lagos zonal office, specifically for Lagos. All other states of the Federation are under Ibadan, of Southwest are under Ibadan. But because your population, because of the centrality, Lagos stands alone as the zonal office with Mr. Chitu, an indigenous of this state, that had been posted to be the director here. If we have a plot of land, it is for us to build, just as we were building. Because we are doing this in the last 2-3 years, we have done so in Rivers, we have done so in Borno, Sokoto, Kano, Nasarawa, and so on, where we have the centers, where even the needs are less. So we feel that we should come and appeal to you as our father in the state to please urgently provide us with a plot of land in each of these places.
In his response, Governor Sanwo-Olu assured the JAMB registrar of his support to address inadequacy of testing facilities faced by candidates writing the examinations in Lagos State. The governor pledged to collaborate with the board to expand the capacity of exam centers where candidates take their computer-based matriculation tests.
What you've asked us to do is a minimum that is expected. So we're going to, out of this meeting, ensure that we can take this responsibility forward. Look for, sizable plot of land in Ojo, in Ikorodu, and Mile 2 area, for the board, so that we can, even if you want, jointly put together things, because that's it's for our children, it's for our citizens, but we'll try and look for the land, and we'll call upon you. We'll get a contact person that can work with us, and can ensure that we get to work on that. The requests are well taken, they are appropriate, and we will do everything we can to make it happen for you.
From education to agriculture, Governor Obasani of Kaduna State has stressed the need for government at all levels to prioritize agriculture as a pathway to achieving sustainable economic growth and stability, especially in the face of socio-economic challenges confronting Nigeria. Governor Sani expressed optimism that the reform agenda of President Bola Tinubu's administration in agriculture and other sectors will soon put the country on the path of economic prosperity. The governor stated this at a one-day agriculture conference organized by the Arewa think tank in the state capital.
Reorientation.
Understanding the importance of agriculture to national economic growth and development is the focus of this conference organized by the Arewa think tank in Kaduna State.
Let me single out for
the conference with the theme Agricultural Perspective of Nigeria in the Last 64 Years of Independence brings together policymakers and experts, including Governor Obasani of Kaduna State, the former Chief of Defense Staff, General Martin Luther Agwai, the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Mr. Dele Alake, and other top government officials. Governor Sani underscores the importance of agriculture in reviving the nation's economy.
in our quest to transform Nigeria and give our people a new lease of life, we must give priority attention to agriculture. At the independence, agriculture was the mainstay of the Nigerian economy.
The governor also highlights the state's significant investment in agriculture, highlighting some of the successes recorded in the fight against insecurity and its impact on agriculture.
In 2025 budget, we allocated close to 10% of the total budget agricultural sector. Also, the state being taken to tackle insecurity and violent crime, especially in our rural areas, are yielding results.
Speakers at the conference highlight the importance of prioritizing agriculture and industrialization to boost the nation's economy.
We also know that there are security challenges. I'm glad that government at all levels are addressing squarely this issue of security.
With over 300 arrests and apprehensions conducted by these mining marshals, with several prosecutions of illegal miners apprehended ongoing, and in fact recording some convictions. It has only been possible because of the synergy that Mr. President has introduced and injected into his cabinet.
Agriculture is an ageless sector of the economy. Each time you touch agriculture, it's so vast, the value chain is inestimable. So that is why we have chosen that theme.
The conference concludes with a call for deliberate steps to prioritize agriculture to drive economic growth, create jobs, curb insecurity, and ensure food security for the citizens.
To company news now, Stanbic IBTC Holdings PLC has unveiled the facts behind its 148 billion naira rights issue today in Lagos. The holding company says the event underscores its commitment to maintaining transparency with investors while bolstering stakeholder confidence as it solidifies its position in the capital market. The rights issue opened on January the 15th and it closes on February the 21st, 2025.
Stanbic IBTC Holdings PLC is in the spotlight as it hosts its much-anticipated Facts Behind the Rights issue presentation at the Nigerian Exchange Group House in Lagos. The session provides stakeholders and investors with insights into the holding company recently announced 148 billion naira rights issue, offering over 2.9 billion ordinary shares of 50 kobo each at a discount rate of 50 naira 50 kobo per share below the current market price. Stanbic IBTC Holdings PLC is offering this to existing shareholders on the basis of 5 new ordinary shares for every 22 ordinary shares. The executive management of the company speaks of the group's track record.
Following the CBI capitalization policy in 2005, IBTC merged with Chartered Bank and Region Bank, changing its name to IBTC Chartered Bank. In 2007, IBTC merged with Stanbic Bank Nigeria and Standard Bank gained control of the combined entity in a $1 billion transaction to form Stanbic IBTC. In 2012, following the cancellation of the universal banking license regime by the central bank, the holding company construct was adopted. We started with 8 subsidiaries, and we have seen grown to 11 subsidiaries, adding insurance brokerage, life insurance, and lately payment services.
The chief executive of Stanbic IBTC Bank, Mr. Wole Adeniyi, outlines how the proceeds of the capital raise will be allocated.
42% of this proceeds will go into the corporate and investment banking part of our business. 27% will go into our business and commercial banking. The large enterprises, the agri opportunities, the small and medium scale opportunities, this is where you are going to see those funds being utilized. And then from the personal and private banking business, we are going to use 11% of these proceeds. One area that we're good at is digital lending, and we're extending that capability.
With this rights issue, Stanbic IBTC Holdings hopes to join the League of Banks in the country, raising the capital base in line with the new minimum capital requirements set by the Central Bank of Nigeria. The CEO of the Nigerian Exchange Limited speaks about the financial sector's impact to the market.
Between 2019 and 2024, the value of shares that are traded in our market is about 8 trillion naira. And 51% of that, which is about 4.2 trillion, is what's traded by the financial services sector. So they really play a critical role in our market. And to the investors, within that period, they have also distributed 12.4 billion naira as dividend to all the investors.
Stanbic IBTC Holdings PLC promises shareholders a rewarding journey as they exercise their rights. Will Ibong, Channels Television News.
For more stories from the world of business, Dominic Iwewe is standing by.
Thank you. And on business news, President Bola Tinubu has approved the establishment of inland dry ports in Ogun and Oyo State as part of efforts to decongest the port system in the western part of the country. The approval was confirmed by Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Mr. Adegboyega Oyetola, during the 2025 budget defense to the Joint Committee of the Senate on Marine Transport and House of Representatives Committee on Ports and Harbour. The minister explained that the move marks a significant step in the federal government's plan to enhance the country's maritime infrastructure and create jobs for the nation's youth upon their completion. He added that the new dry ports are expected to serve as key hubs for transportation, storage, and distribution, which will significantly impact the region's blue economy. The Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, TUC, has outlined at least 4 areas of disagreement with the federal government in the current tax reforms bill that is before the National Assembly. Some of the areas include the proposed increment of value-added tax VAT from the current 7.5% to 15%, the gradual defunding of TET Fund and Naseni and tax exemptions limited to those earning 800,000 naira per annum. A statement signed by the president of the union, Mr. Festus Osifo, proposes a tax exemption threshold to be increased from the current 800,000 naira per annum as proposed in the bill to 2.5 million naira per annum. The union also disagreed with the proposal to allow the Nigeria Revenue Service take over the role of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission in the collection of royalties in the oil and gas sector. The Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority says it has given a license approval for the construction of a new refinery in Delta State. In a post on its official X handle, the NMDPRA's chief executive, Mr. Farouk Ahmed, said he presented a license to establish a 10,000 barrels per day refinery at Imode in Ogoni, Delta State, to MRO Energy Limited. This development comes 2 months after the regulator granted a license to Process Design and Development Limited to establish and construct a new 27,000 barrels per day refinery located in Dole Wuri Akko area of Gombe State. The latest approval also signifies that Nigeria now officially has about 11 modular and regular refineries, adding to the nation's refining capacity. It's another win for the domestic stock market as it sustains its positive trend for a second day, largely due to bargain hunting for the shares of MTN Nigeria. Ini John Mekwa tells us more.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Stock Market Report. Well, it does seem like the uncertainty in the market is gone with the inauguration of President Donald Trump. Today we see direction in the market, and it's also been according to the vibes coming from the NCC, the 50% tariff increase for telecoms approved by the NCC seems to be fitting into the market because we see a 0.74% all-share index in the green, and 103,000 going up from the 102 that we recorded yesterday. 63.332 trillion is for the market cap, and this is where that 50% tariff hike is really showing. Yeah, right here, MTN Nigeria. So while yesterday we did see that MTN Nigeria was part of the top trades, today we see it leading in the gainers, gained 10%, to close at 256 naira 30 kobo. Score follows, and then we see Omateco. Congratulations to MTN investors at this time, but it's also a flip side that we see. So we see the tech and the buildings and then insurance, but at the end of the day we hear a very loud and confident sound coming from the bull.
And that's it on business news. Back to Anne for the rest of the news at 10.
Thank you, Dominic. Let's now join Simon Puse for more international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5.
This next executive order is about protecting America from foreign terrorists and other national security and public safety threats.
The new US President Donald Trump has started the process of withdrawing the US from the World Health Organization and Paris climate deal, and has also declared a national emergency on the southern border. It all took place on his first day in power, with the new president holding an impromptu press conference in the Oval Office as he signed executive order after executive order, radically changing the fabric of America in the process. Maybe most controversially was the executive order offering a blanket pardon to around 1,500 people related to the attack on the Capitol by his supporters in 2021.
First, we have a list of pardons and commutations relating to events that occurred on January 6, 2021.
Okay, and how many people is this?
I think this order will apply to approximately 1,500 people, sir.
So this is January 6th, and these are the hostages. Approximately 1,500 for a pardon.
Yes.
Full pardon.
Full pardon or commutation?
Full pardon. We have about 6 commutations in there where we're doing further research.
The U.S. Justice Department has asked a federal court in Washington to start dismissing pending cases against suspected January the 6th rioters. The court filing states the case should be dismissed with prejudice, meaning the charges cannot be pursued again.
We hope they get them. We hope they come out tonight, frankly.
It's not insurrection. That's the thing. You got towns burning around Minneapolis, Oregon, all of that, and nobody got anything for, burning and looting and all that, and those people were just here at the Capitol.
Right now, it looks like he's really going to go straight forward to it, and I can't wait to see that.
І зараз для цього є хороший шанс. Інаугурація нового президента Сполучених Штатів Donald Trump.
International leaders around the world have been sending messages of congratulations after his inauguration, as countries try to position themselves favorably with the new administration.
Sarah and I send our warmest wishes to you, Melania, and the American people on your second inauguration as President of the United States. Your first term as President was filled with groundbreaking moments in the history of the great alliance between our two countries. You withdrew from the dangerous Iran nuclear deal. You recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital. You moved the American embassy to Jerusalem, and you recognized Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights.
On behalf of His Majesty's government and the United Kingdom, I would like to send my warmest congratulations to President Trump on his inauguration as the 47th President of the United States. For centuries, the relationship between our two nations has been one of collaboration, cooperation, and enduring partnership. It is a uniquely close bond. Together, we have defended the world from tyranny and worked towards our mutual security and prosperity. With President Trump's long-standing affection and historical ties to the United Kingdom, I know that depth of friendship will continue.
Meanwhile, the US Senator Marco Rubio from Florida has become the first of President Donald Trump's cabinet nominees to be sworn into office, where he emphasized that US foreign policy under Trump will put American needs first. The US Senate unanimously confirmed Rubio, a China hawk and a staunch backer of Israel, just hours after Mr. Trump took office.
President Trump was elected to keep promises, and he's going to keep those promises. And his primary promise when it comes to foreign policy is that the priority of the United States Department of State will be the United States.
And Elon Musk has caused outrage over a one-armed gesture he gave during a speech celebrating the inauguration.
Thank you.
Many on X, the social media platform that he owns, likens the gesture to a Nazi salute. In response, Musk posted, "Frankly, they need better dirty tricks. The everyone is Hitler attack is so tired."
And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Many thanks indeed, Simon, and welcome to Sports News. The 2024-2025 NWFL Premiership returns on Wednesday with thrilling match day 2 fixtures across the country. In Group A, Heartland Queens are looking to recover from their narrow 1-0 loss to Ekiti Queens, will host title holders Edo Queens. In the Southwest Derby, Remo Stars Ladies will play host to Ekiti Queens. Abia Angels will host Nasarawa Amazons in another Group A tie. In Group B, Nigeria Tels will play host to Rivers Angels at home after securing a valuable away point against Adamawa Queens. Both Delta Queens and Benue Queens will be looking for redemption after a tough start to the season. Let's bring you up to speed with updates from the just concluded games in the new format UEFA Champions League. Host Benfica were forced to a 4-4 draw by Barcelona. Atletico Madrid and Bayer Leverkusen also played a 1-1 draw. Club Brugge and Juventus ended goalless, while Liverpool's impressive run in Europe continued with a 2-1 win against 10-man Lille. Africa Player of the Year Ademola Lookman was on the score sheet in Atlanta's 5-0 thrashing of Storm Graz. Well, in the female category, Arena Sabalenka is also through to the semi-finals. That's sports. I'm Kelly Egiga. He's back to Anne.
Thank you, Kelly. And the main news again. President Bola Tinubu today met with Governor Siminalayi Fubara, FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, and other Ogoni leaders, where he assured them that his administration will prioritize peace, justice, and sustainable development in Ogoni land. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Nwawadu. Good night.